What would you do if someone kept stealing the one thing you'd spent your life protecting? My name is Amos, and for 30 years, I've poured my soul into this farm, a patch of earth in Montana where the Karen flowers bloom like fire against the endless green. They're not just flowers, they're my legacy, a rare strain my father bred before he passed. Their petals are red so deep they seem to pulse with life. People come from miles away to see them, to buy them, to marvel. But Karen, she didn't come to admire. She came to take. Started 3 years ago. Karen Miller, my neighbor, a woman with a smile sharp enough to cut glass, showed up at my gate with a basket and a story about wanting just a few blooms for her daughter's wedding. I said no. The Karen flowers aren't for picking unless you're paying, and even then, I'm picky about who gets them. They're delicate, finicky, and worth more than most folks' cars. Karen didn't like that. Her smile twisted, and she left, but not before I saw the glint in her eye, something hungry, something mean. A week later, I found a gap in the field. A dozen plants gone. Their roots were ripped clean from the soil, like someone had yanked them out in a hurry. I knew it was her. No one else would have dared. I confronted her, but she laughed it off, said I was paranoid, that maybe critters got to my flowers. Critters don't leave boot prints, Karen. For years, it was a game. She'd sneak in at night, clip a few stems, and sell them at the local market for a fortune. I'd find the evidence: her tire tracks, a dropped earring, a scrap of her scarf caught on my fence. I put up signs, then barbed wire, then cameras. She didn't stop. She got bolder. Last spring, she took a whole row 50 plants and had the nerve to wave at me from her porch the next morning, like she hadn't just robbed me blind. I was done playing nice. I hired Jack, a former Marine who didn't talk much but carried a rifle like it was part of him. Keep her out, I told him. Whatever it takes. Jack nodded, his eyes cold as the Montana winter. I didn't want violence, but I was tired of her greed, her entitlement, her smirk. The Karen flowers were my life, and she was bleeding me dry. Tonight it came to a head. The sun was sinking, painting the fields gold, when I heard Jack's shout. I ran out, shovel in hand, my heart pounding. There she was, Karen, in the middle of my field, her arms stuffed with flowers, their red petals spilling over her like blood. She didn't even flinch when she saw me. "You can't stop me, Amos," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "These flowers are worth more than your sorry farm. I'm taking what I deserve." Deserve? I spat, stepping closer, the shovel heavy in my hands. "You've been stealing from me for years. This ends now." Jack stepped out from behind the barn, his rifle raised. "Drop the flowers, ma'am," he said, his voice low, steady. Karen froze, but her eyes darted between us, calculating. For a moment, I thought she'd back down. But Karen never backed down. "You think you can scare me?" she sneered, clutching the flowers tighter. "Go ahead, shoot. You won't. You're too weak. Both of you." She took a step forward, daring us, her face twisted with defiance. "Karen, stop," I shouted, my voice cracking. I didn't want this. I didn't want blood on my land, on my flowers. But she kept moving, her boots trampling the plants, her laugh sharp and cruel. Jack's finger tightened on the trigger. "Last warning," he said. She didn't listen. She never did. The shot rang out, a crack that split the evening air. Karen stumbled, the flowers falling from her arms, scattering across the dirt. She hit the ground hard, her eyes wide with shock, her hands clutching her side where the bullet had torn through. Blood seeped into the soil, mixing with the red of the petals. I stood there, frozen, the shovel slipping from my hands. "Amos," she gasped, her voice small now, almost human. "I just wanted." But she didn't finish. Her eyes fluttered shut, and the field went silent, save for the whisper of the wind through the flowers. Jack lowered his rifle, his face unreadable. "She didn't give me a choice," he said, but his voice was hollow. I didn't answer, couldn't. All I could see was Karen, lying there among the flowers she'd coveted, her blood soaking into the earth I'd spent my life tending. I should have felt vindicated, She'd pushed me to this, hadn't she? For years, she'd taken and taken, laughing in my face, knowing I couldn't stop her. But as I looked at her, something twisted inside me. She wasn't just a thief. She was a person flawed, greedy, desperate. Like me, like all of us. I dropped to my knees, the dirt cool against my palms. The Karen flowers swayed around me, their beauty untouched by the ugliness of what had just happened. I wanted to scream, to cry, to undo it all. But life doesn't work that way. Choices have consequences, and this one would haunt me forever. The sheriff came an hour later. Jack told the story: trespassing, theft, a warning ignored. Self-defense, he called it. The sheriff nodded, took notes, and didn't ask many questions. Karen's reputation in town wasn't exactly spotless. But as they carried her body away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd lost something too. Not just a neighbor, not just a fight, but a piece of myself. The days that followed were a blur. The town buzzed with gossip: Karen the thief, Amos the victim, Jack the hero. But I didn't feel like a victim, and Jack sure as hell didn't feel like a hero. He quit the next week, left without a word. I didn't blame him. The farm felt different now, tainted. The flowers still bloomed, but their red seemed darker, like they were carrying her blood in their veins. I tried to move on. I tended the fields, sold the flowers, smiled for the customers. But every night, I saw her face, her sneer, her shock, her final gasp. I wondered what had driven her. Money, sure, but was there more? A daughter who needed her? A life that felt too small? I'd never know. I hadn't wanted to know, not when she was alive. I just wanted her gone. One evening, I found a letter in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten. The ink smudged like someone had been crying when they wrote it. "You killed my mother," it said. She wasn't perfect, but she was mine. No signature, but I knew it was from Karen's daughter, Lily. I'd seen her around town, a quiet girl with her mother's eyes. I sat there, the letter shaking in my hands, and felt the weight of what we'd done crash over me like a wave. I went to the field that night under a sky heavy with stars. The Karen flowers glowed in the moonlight, their beauty a cruel reminder of everything I'd lost. I thought about tearing them all out, burning the field, starting over. But I couldn't. They were my father's legacy, my life's work. And now they were something else, too, a monument to a mistake, to a moment when anger and pride won out over mercy. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself. I don't know if Lily will ever forgive me. But I know one thing. The Karen flowers will keep blooming, year after year. Their red petals a testament to the cost of holding on too tight, of fighting too hard, of forgetting that even thieves have hearts. The farm is quiet now. Too quiet. I walk the fields alone, my boots sinking into the soil where Karen fell. Sometimes, I think I hear her laugh on the wind, sharp and defiant, reminding me that some debts can't be paid, some wounds can't be healed. And every time I look at those flowers, I see her face, and I wonder if I'll ever find peace again. I spent the next few weeks avoiding town. The whispers followed me anyway, carried on the wind like the scent of the Karen flowers. People didn't know the whole story, but they knew enough to pick sides. Some called me a hero for standing up to a thief. Others said I'd gone too far, that no flower, no matter how rare, was worth a life. I didn't argue with either side. What could I say? That I hadn't meant for it to happen? That I'd give anything to take it back? Words felt cheap, useless against the weight of what I'd done. Lily's letter haunted me. I kept it on my kitchen table, folded but never out of sight. Every morning, I'd stare at it over my coffee, her words burning into me. She wasn't perfect, but she was mine. I didn't know Lily well, hadn't bothered to. She was just Karen's shadow, a quiet girl who kept to herself. But now she was real, a person with pain I'd caused. I wanted to reach out, to explain, but what could I say that wouldn't sound like an excuse? The farm kept me busy, at least. The Karen flowers were in high demand, especially after the news spread. People are strange, like that tragedy makes them curious, draws them in like moths to a flame. They'd come to buy a bouquet, their eyes darting to the spot where Karen had fallen, like they could still see her blood in the dirt. I didn't correct them when they got the story wrong. Didn't tell them how her laugh still echoed in my head, how I couldn't sleep without seeing her eyes go blank. One day, a reporter showed up, a young guy with a notepad and too many questions. "Amos, people want to know your side," he said, leaning against my fence like we were old friends. "Was Karen a villain? Or was she just desperate? And what about you? Are you the victim here? Or something else?" I sent him away without a word. My side didn't matter. The truth was messy, tangled up in years of resentment and pride. Karen wasn't a villain, not really. She was selfish, sure, but she wasn't evil. And me? I wasn't a victim. I'd made choices hiring Jack, letting my anger fester, standing by while the rifle went off. Could have stopped it. I didn't. The seasons changed, but the weight didn't. Fall came, and the Karen flowers faded, their petals dropping like tears into the soil. I walked the fields less, stayed inside more. The farm felt like a graveyard now, every row a reminder of that night. I thought about selling it, leaving Montana for good. But where would I go? This land was all I knew, all I'd ever been. Without it, who was I? Then Lily came to the farm. It was a crisp October morning, the air sharp with the promise of winter. I was in the barn, fixing a broken gate, when I saw her at the edge of the field. She was taller than I remembered, her dark hair pulled back, her mother's sharp eyes locked on me. My heart stopped. For a moment I thought she was Karen, come back to haunt me. But no, it was Lily, her hands stuffed in her jacket pockets, her face unreadable. "Amos," she said, her voice steady but cold. "We need to talk." I nodded, setting the hammer down. My mouth was dry, my hands shaking. I didn't know what she wanted: revenge, answers, or just to scream at me. I deserved all of it. "Come inside," I said, gesturing to the house. She followed, her steps deliberate, like she was walking into a lion's den. We sat at my kitchen table, the letter still there between us. She glanced at it, then back at me. "You kept it," she said, not a question. "Yeah," I said, my voice rough. I didn't know what else to do with it. She didn't respond right away. Her fingers traced the edge of the table, and I saw her mother in her, the same stubborn set of her jaw, the same fire in her eyes. But there was something else, too. Something softer, something broken. "Why'd she do it?" I asked, the question spilling out before I could stop it. "Why'd she keep coming back? Stealing, pushing me like that?" Lily's eyes narrowed. "You think I know?" She didn't tell me everything. She didn't tell me much at all. She paused, her voice dropping. "But I know she was desperate. After Dad left, it was just us. She was trying to keep the house, keep me in school. Your flowers, they were money. A way out." I swallowed hard, the guilt twisting deeper. "She could have asked for help," I said, but even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. Karen's pride was as fierce as mine. She'd never have begged, and I'd never have offered. "She wasn't right," Lily said, her voice breaking. "She was wrong to steal. I know that. But you..." She looked at me, her eyes wet with tears she refused to let fall. "You didn't have to let her die." The words hit like a punch. I wanted to argue, to tell her about the years of theft, the warnings, the nights I'd spent patching fences she'd cut. But I couldn't. She was right. I'd let my anger win. I'd let Jack pull the trigger. I'd stood there and done nothing. "I'm sorry," I said, the words choking me. "I didn't want this. I didn't want her dead." Lily's face crumpled, just for a moment, before she pulled it back together. "I don't care what you wanted," she said. "She's gone. And I'm alone now." The silence that followed was heavier than anything I'd ever felt. I wanted to say something, anything, to make it better. But there was nothing. No words could bring Karen back. No apology could erase the blood in the dirt. "I don't forgive you," Lily said finally, standing up. "I don't know if I ever will. But I needed to see you. To know who you are." She looked around the kitchen, at the letter, at the worn table where I'd spent so many nights alone. "I don't think you're a monster. But you're not a hero either." She left without another word, her footsteps fading into the crunch of gravel outside. I sat there for a long time, staring at the letter, at the empty chair where she'd been. I didn't cry. I didn't have the right. Winter came and the farm went quiet. The Karen flowers were dormant now, their roots buried deep, waiting for spring. I tried to keep working, but it was hard. Every task felt pointless, every bloom a reminder of what I'd lost. I stopped going to the market, stopped answering calls from buyers. The farm was dying, and I didn't know how to save Iter if I even wanted to. One morning, I found a package on my porch. No note, no address, just a small wooden box. Inside was a single Karen flower, pressed and preserved, its red petals still vivid against the white paper. And with it, a photograph. Karen and Lily smiling years ago before everything went wrong. I don't know who sent it, but I knew what it meant. A reminder, a reckoning. I buried the flower in the field, right where Karen had fallen. I don't know why. Felt right, like closing a circle. The photograph I kept, tucked inside the letter. They sat together on my table now, a shrine to my mistakes. Spring came slowly, the Karen flowers waking up, their red petals pushing through the earth. I watched them bloom, but I didn't feel the pride I used to. They were beautiful, yes, but they were heavy, too, weighted with memory. I started giving them away, not selling, just giving. To neighbors, to strangers, to anyone who'd take them. It wasn't atonement, not really, but it was something. A way to let go. I saw Lily again just once at the market. She was selling honey from her mother's old hives, her hands steady as she handed jars to customers. I didn't approach her. I didn't deserve to, but I watched her for a moment, saw the way she smiled, the way she carried herself. She was stronger than Karen, stronger than me. She'd survive this. I hoped she would. The farm is mine again, but it's different now. The Karen flowers still bloom, but they're not just mine anymore. They belong to the people who come to see them, to the town that whispers my name, to the girl who lost her mother in my field. I tend them because it's all I know how to do, but I don't own them. Not really. Maybe I never did. What happened that night wasn't justice. It wasn't right or wrong, not in the clean way people want it to be. It was human, messy, flawed, and full of regret. I don't know if I'll ever find peace, but I'm trying. I'm trying to be better, to listen, to see the people behind the choices. I owe that to Karen, to Lily, to myself. What do you think? Was I wrong to protect what was mine, or was Karen wrong to take it? Is there justice in a bullet, or just tragedy? Share your thoughts, because I'm still searching for answers, and maybe you are, too.